Those of you who have watched my videos before will know that I really love Casio CTK keyboards. I think they're a little bit impeded by the name Casio, but anyone who bothers to explore them will see they really do have some really great features, particularly if you find one with the DSP built in. Casio makes a brilliant digital signal processor, and the CTK6000 has it. So, it starts you off with obviously your default piano sound. And if you press the synth button right here, then it starts to get more interesting. If you've watched my reviews before, you'll know that I like to get straight into the synthesizer settings. Right, there's a nice tough square wave. Let's see what we can do with the DSP to liven that up a little bit. You press function and mixer. Here it is. Okay, using the left, right, up, down keys, we can navigate through. Reverb's fine the way it is on page 1. So you can switch between having a selection of choruses to choose from, or you can have the DSP, which opens up a much bigger range of effects. So why would you ever not have the DSP switched on? I don't know. Move to the DSP page, and it actually starts you off with a few chorus settings, and then you can go right through to just a whole range of things. There's auto panners, chorus with panner, some of them are multi-effect systems. There's rotary there, wah. So with virtually no effort at all there, I've already created something that's a reasonably interesting sound. That seems to be layered with some strings. Layering is easily done just pressing the layer button here. Second layer on, second layer off. We'll stick to just one layer for the moment and cycle through some of these effects while with a compressor. So the sound has a lot more attack. We've got our pitch bend wheel down the end here. I think you can just see that on your image. Okay, so just zooming in to have a little bit of a closer look at the screen. I don't know how clear that is for you, but it's the best I could do at this stage. I'm going to now show you the arpeggiator. This is a sound that's just similar to what I was showing you a moment ago. Arpeggiator is selected by holding down the arpeggiator button here, choosing from the list of 150 or so arpeggiators, and then pressing just a quick press on the button again to switch the arpeggiator on. So long press to choose, short press to activate. Okay, so did I turn that on just then? No, I didn't. Okay, here comes the arpeggiator. Okay, I'll just zoom out a little bit so you can see the action I'm playing on the keyboard there. Just nice and simple, there's nothing to it. And you can hear that delay effect added there too, which is really effective with arpeggios. And I've created a few of these. I can record them just with one touch from my banks here. I've got 4 banks, and using the bank selector switch, there are 8 banks of 4. That not only saves the sound, it also saves the entire setup of the keyboard. And 8 times 4, so 32 different setups that I can have. Here's a different one. This one's interesting because it's reminiscent of 80s music. You get the idea. And that leads me nicely into the rhythm section. Okay, so we can select from 6 different categories of rhythms, which is very generalized. For example, category A is pop, rock, and dance, which is obviously a massively wide variety. But basically, category A is your interesting ones, and all the rest are things like just piano loops. Your user rhythms are in bank F right here. Sorry, I just realized that just off your screen. But anyway, the important stuff is all down here. Let's have a listen to something. Now, you can, with one touch, add your entire backing ensemble. Usually I find that's not to my liking though, Some of these drum sounds are pretty tasty. That was just two of the hip-hop beats, and as normal with these keyboards you can control your fills, and there's a part A and a part B, so you can add a bit of variety and a bit of sequence to your song. Okay, so now let's just take a closer look at the screen. Alright, I haven't got a decent tripod with me today, so I hope you'll forgive me if the screen's shaking around a little bit. Hopefully the shake fixer in YouTube will take care of that. Anyway, I was just in the rhythm section, so as you can see the rhythm bit is surrounded by those parentheses there, and I can go through using my little dial over here and choose anything from the huge range of beats. Okay, for this next part we're going to edit a sound. I've just chosen another basic synth sound, Polysynth 2, and I'm going to press the tone editor button right here, and that brings up first page of 7. You can see right here we navigate through the pages by using the direction keys here. Left and right will take us through the pages. Sometimes you can go up and down as well. Anyway, back to the main screen. Let's increase our attack time. 0 just means instant attack. Your sound appears straight away. A high attack time means it'll fade in a little bit more gently. And let's go down to release time, which is at the other end of the sound. So the higher your release time, the longer it will take the sound to fade away. Quite nice. Let's move on to page 2. And our cutoff, which will increase the brightness of the sound. If we take that right back into the minuses, so let's bring that up quite high. Okay, now vibrato type. This is pretty fun. We can select the waveform that our vibrato is going to take. Is it going to be a nice hard square shape, or a really soft triangular sort of shape, or a smooth sine wave? Let's take it to extremes and use the square wave, which of course is a very unforgiving type of vibrato, very strong. Here's the vibrato depth. So yes, that's pretty extreme. Let's change it to a sine wave vibrato, which should be much smoother. And we can change the rate of that. Nice fast rate can be a really intense sound. See that rubbing sort of synth noise? And let's change the depth of that, make it really intense, about 45. I would show you that with the pitch bend wheel too, but I don't have a free hand right now. I'm holding the camera, but anyway, you get the idea. And I'll slow down that rate again. And we can also program the amount of delay is taken before that vibrato kicks in. So if we have a nice long delay, then you hear the vibrato kicking in after that 1 or 2 seconds that I held down the key. Which can be really effective too. Octave shift is just what it says it is. If I make it low, then I'm playing low, and so that was the exact same key. Okay, let's leave that on 0. And what's on page 5? Overall volume, the touch sensitivity, and the reverb send, chorus send. So if reverb is important to you with this particular pad, and it is quite a smooth pad, so we might want to max out the reverb. Now the DSP, we're going to apply that DSP, which is our multi-effect system. Now delay won't have much effect on a soft breathy sort of noise like this, so let's try something like phaser. And now you can see we're on page 7 of 11. We have more pages now because we've selected that phaser. So here we can change the resonance of the phaser. That was set to a pretty resonant sort of level. It's slightly more subtle there, but still pretty strong. LFO rate, LFO depth. So again, we're controlling the cycles that the sound goes through. So you can hear that sort of choppy phaser sound. Increasing in speed in the background there. Let's slow that down a bit. And that's the depth of that LFO. So again, fairly extreme. And being a phaser, it can go through several cycles of waveform as well. So we can have a nice smooth sine waveform, triangular, or just random. Random's a lot of fun. This is again routed back to the reverb. So this is the amount of DSP that's going to be sent through the reverb. Let's max that out. So okay, that's not the most outstanding sound, obviously, that you're ever going to hear. I won't worry about saving that. So having not saved it, it returns us back to the default way that sound is presented when you select it. But yeah, even though it's not the most amazing sound in the world, you've got something like 600 sounds to choose from. I think it's 670 actually. And if you imagine all the possibilities with your 200 effects banks that you can program, and 670 sounds, plus those tone editor functions there, as well as layering up to 2 sounds at once, you have a pretty good range of sounds at your disposal there. So in summing up, I'd say the CTK6000 is really comprehensive. It's great fun for a beginner, but also pretty formidable if you're someone who's starting to get into synth programming and you don't want to go all out with a $5,000 Roland or Korg system. This is something that will really get you close to that mark while only costing you a few $100s. Just have a quick look around the back and we will find darkness. Yes, we'll find complete darkness. I don't have enough light. Let's try getting it up to a better angle. Okay, so we've got lines out there, left and right sockets. There's our power going in. This is our audio in. So if you want to connect something else with a 3.5mm jack, that can be done, and it does have a pretty nice set of monitors inside it too, so the sound quality you're going to get out of that if you put your iPod through it, for example, is going to be pretty nice. Now this is the important bit down here. Oh sorry, there's one more bit here. What have we got? Sustain, so you can attach a pedal to that, your headphone socket of course, but here's where the action is. USB socket and an SD card slot. So if you program a song on this, it can actually convert it to a WAV file for you on board and save it to your SD card right here. Now that is a brilliant feature because that gives you a completely noiseless recording of USB, all the usual features that you'd expect of USB, i.e. transferring files to and from the unit, live recording, all sorts of things. There's those monitor speakers again, which like I said are of really high quality. They're 6 watts each, so they're fairly loud. Keyboard has a nice feel to it as well. Selector dial there. On the bottom left there you can see the transpose section there, which also acts as yes, no buttons and a whole set of functions to set up the keyboard with the defaults that you need to do whatever it is you want to do. And your direction keys down there. So what an excellent package. CTK6000 by Casio.